Well, good afternoon, everyone. We're going to get started. For those of you I haven't had the privilege of meeting, my name is Keith Levitt. I am the director of the zoo, and on behalf of the zoo and the Zoological Society, we are very excited to be here today for an announcement on a major gift from Bay Coast Bank to the zoo to help build our new Bay Coast Bank Wildlife Animal Ambassador building. So we're very excited today. Right off the bat, I wanted to introduce some people in the audience and thank some people in the audience. One of the great things about this project is that there are many entities involved in funding and supporting this project. First off, I want to thank the City of New Bedford through its CIP program, and with us today we have New Bedford Mayor John Mitchell. We also have in our audience Ward 5 City Councilor Scott Lima, and someone wearing two hats today. We have Ward 6 City Councilor Joe Lopes, who is also a Vice President at Bay Coast Bank. From Bay Coast Bank, we have several representatives, and I wanted to thank a few of them and acknowledge President and CEO Nick Christ. Thank you very much. Vice President of Community Relations and Corporate Giving, Julie Gagliardi. Julie, thank you. And I also wanted to recognize some of our board of directors. We received several small grants and gifts with this project as well, and that's as a result of the due diligence of our hard-working board of directors. We have Board President, Zoological Society Board President Marion Wayner. We have longtime board member Fred Smilik. And we also have Melissa Walsh from the board of directors. And then also I wanted to recognize the architectural firm who's responsible for these beautiful designs of our Wildlife Ambassador building. And with us today we have George Figueredo from Mount Vernon Architectural Group. So the Bedford Park Zoo started a new master plan in 2016, and we've already had great success. We've built an expanded habitat for our beloved Asian elephants, Ruth and Emily. And we've also opened our new Rainforest Rivers and Reefs building. And this new Wildlife Ambassador building will be one of our next projects that we are creating. And it's going to be on the same great quality and the same level that we have created these previous habitats, and we're very excited. Now, some of you may be asking, what is a Wildlife Ambassador building? And truthfully, this is a building that's part of our Animal Ambassador program here at the zoo. The zoo's curative education, Carrie Hawthorne, will be talking about this program much more in depth. But to simplify it, we work with native species of orphaned and injured wildlife. These are species that cannot be reintroduced back to the wild due to the nature of their injuries. And we train these animals and we acclimate them to members of the community, particularly children. And we use these animals in our education programs. And this is a very important tool for us here at the zoo, because we are allowing children to get up close and personal, and in some regards actually touch some of the animals. And when they're doing that, they're having magical experiences. They're having memorable experiences with these species of wildlife. And as some of you experienced today with our hawk and owl and tortoise, as you're looking at these beautiful animals, you're also learning about their biology. You're learning about their natural history, the ecology of where they come from, the environment of where they come from. So there's so much that we can do with this. We also talk about their conservation. We're involved in conservation programs throughout the world, but we're very proud of our conservation programs locally. And to have these local native wildlife species that people can gain an appreciation of and actually do their part as responsible citizens to help protect, that is so important for the programs of the zoo. I've had the privilege of traveling to zoos all around the country and all around the world, and many zoos have Wildlife Ambassador programs. What's going to be very unique about this building is that often when you're doing ambassador programs, the animals are housed behind the scenes. Because they're often out and about in the zoo and out in the community, oftentimes they're behind the scenes and not everyone gets to see them. We're going to be creating world-class habitats for these animals right here at the zoo that visitors can see every day. And the benefit of that is not only are they going to be able to interact with these animals, they're going to be able to interact with these animals, touch these animals in the most naturalistic environments possible. They're going to be able to appreciate not only these beautiful animals, but where they came from. So we are very excited about this building. We're very excited about the support of it. And as I said, Carrie Hawthorne will be talking about this program much more in depth. Right now, it is my honor to introduce our next speaker, and that is someone who's been very supportive of the zoo. That is New Bedford's Mayor, John Mitchell. And as I said, through the CIP program and through everything they do for help us support us at the zoo, we would not be able to be successful as we are without the great support of the mayor. And with that, Mayor Mitchell.
Thanks, Keith. Thanks, Keith. Thanks, everybody. You know, as I was sitting here listening to Keith's remarks, you know, it dawned on me just how long I've been connected to the zoo, but more importantly, just how much it's changed over the years. I can remember, you know, I lived on Rockdale Avenue, going to the zoo with my grandmother almost every day, and you know, they say that you know, you remember sights, but you remember smells even more, and I do remember the smells even especially so back then. But I do remember in particular that the zoo, as the zoos had historically been, was just sort of a very static place. There are animals, they were kept in cages, and people looked at them, and then they moved on to the next one, and that was it. And then over time, the city made a big investment in the zoo back in the 90s after it really had hit bottom as an institution, and the city had to decide whether to have a zoo at all, and folks stepped up under the Tierney administration. A lot of terrific people, some of whom are here. Fred Smilik goes back to that time in the zoo's history, and said, you know what, New Bedford deserves a zoo, our children deserve to have a zoo, and so let's make it right. And so that was a really important time in the life of this institution, and it really became modernized. We are in the midst of another new phase in the zoo's history, through the hard work of Keith and his very, very able team, with the support of the city, with the great leadership on the board headed up by Marion Weiner. The zoo is implementing a master plan that will really bring the zoo into relevance in ways that it hasn't been before. You can't help but listen to what Keith just said in describing the ambassador program and say, you know, this is an educational institution first and foremost, and it offers experiences that are not readily available on the internet, right? Because that's, you know, kind of like libraries. Zoos have to reconcile their missions in the internet age and figure out how to exchange knowledge and understanding. And so that's why, you know, we have programs like this to enrich the experience, especially of children and us adults as well. So, you know, I can't say enough about all the hard work here. This place is so much more professionally run than it used to be. The city has stepped up, and I really want to thank Councilors Lima and Lopes for their steadfast support of the zoo during their time in the council. Scott is new to the council, but Scott has always been a big supporter of this place as a resident of Ward 5. And Joe, during his career on the council, has been there every step of the way. So it is a place worthy of investment, of our embrace as a community, and that's, you know, it's a testament again to the work of the board. Marion Weiner, part-time wedding planner that she is, and terrific leader of the board, and everybody, Fred. And then there's the role of private philanthropy, and today we celebrate the work, the contribution, the generosity of Bay Coast Bank. And, you know, when it comes to civic responsibility and being a great corporate citizen, I can't think of a better example than Nick Christ. I mean, Nick has been involved in many elements of the civic life of New Bedford for many years, at the helm of Bay Coast and otherwise. But, you know, Nick, I just want to say this is fabulous. Thank you for stepping up. This will, in ways that are quantifiable, but especially not quantifiable, enrich the lives of especially children, not just this year, not just next year, but in the years and generations to come. It's really a permanent contribution in a very big way, and you know, we're just so honored that you and your institution stepped up. Conflict of interest aside, right here with Joe Lopes. We'll leave that for another day. But no, seriously though, this is great. It's going to be meaningful, and we appreciate all of the work along the way. We've got a big vote in the City Council tonight. I will hasten to remind everybody, but through the leadership of these two councilors and others, we feel pretty good about the CIP and the city's matching contribution to this great effort. So I do want to thank everybody. I want to thank George Figueredo, who always stands way in the back at every press conference, and so I try to point him out for everybody who's been instrumental in the design of this new building as well. So thanks everybody. We really do appreciate the work that's here, and I think the kids who come through here will make memories and hopefully pass on that generosity. Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor. One of the people I forgot to mention, one of our newest board members, she has also dual roles. She works in the city mayor's office as well, but also Christine Arsenault has also joined our board of directors. So please, a round of applause for Christine Arsenault. The next speaker is Carrie Hawthorne, the zoo's curator of education. Carrie's been here, 4 years now? 4 years now, and she's done an amazing job here at the zoo. I'm much rather talk about what great work Carrie does, because it is so easy to talk about, because it's so impactful and it's so inspirational. I know Scott Lima has his child in some of the programs here, and he's been able to work with Carrie, and it's just the work we do here at the zoo is so impactful for children. So many children spend such little time in nature, so little time around wildlife, and Carrie has created programs at the zoo that not only allows them to get close to wildlife, but to gain a greater appreciation in a fun, memorable way. So we are very excited. The programs of the zoo, education programs, are vast. We hit every age group you could ever imagine, all the way up to senior citizens, but we are very lucky to have Carrie Hawthorne, who will talk about our Animal Ambassador program here at the zoo.
Thank you, Keith. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Obviously, this is a huge, exciting honor for myself and the education team, but really the entire zoo staff is so excited about this project. And I just want to take a second to thank everyone who supports our mission and vision every day with what we do here and what Keith was just talking about. In the last 4 years, the zoo's education team has strived to create opportunities for the South Coast community to engage in fun, inspirational, and educational programming. As Keith mentioned, one of the main ways that we do that is through our Animal Ambassador program. Nothing can compare to a child getting to meet an animal up close and personal in terms of developing empathy and connections to our natural world. And many of you experienced that even as adults this afternoon, meeting some of our animal ambassadors. Nothing gives you more awe and inspiration than actually getting to see an owl or a hawk up close like that. You just don't get to do that in these days. 5 years ago, I just remembered, this program started with the arrival of a great horned owl in need of a home due to a wing injury. Many of you met Cisco this afternoon. So that was the beginnings of the Animal Ambassador program 5 years ago. Today, we're home to more than 20 animal ambassadors, everything from birds of prey to fennec foxes and reptiles and everything in between. Each have their very own unique story to tell and have a very important role in our education programs. Just like the number of animals, our impact has grown as well. Starting at the beginning, we saw about 2,000 people through the Animal Ambassador program. This year alone, we'll have over 30,000 people participate in a program with our animal ambassadors, which is just such an awesome thing to have them experience. It's a very busy program. If you take today, for example, this morning, Hannah was out with the Zoomobile visiting Pulaski Elementary School. She was at their preschool learning, the kids were learning all about habitats with some of our animal ambassadors. When the kids are learning about adaptations and habitats, what better way than to have a lizard from the rainforest visit your school so that you can really see what they're talking about when they say they have these special tails that help them to climb and things like that. We also had 2 groups on site in our classrooms participating in programming around life cycles and also habitats. This afternoon, we have some out for this event, greeting people as you enter. And as soon as we wrap this up this evening, we will have a whole different crew come out to do encounters for our members' night. 4 years in, we see kids and families that visit and join us all the time. They know our animal ambassadors by name. They know stories about their counterparts in the wild, and they've been inspired in some way by them. There's just endless stories of people who come in and they know all about them, and they're so excited to see Cisco, for example. These animals are also our connection to parts of the community who can't get to the zoo for one reason or another, like nursing homes and hospitals. With the addition of this dedicated building, we're excited for the ability to expand and grow the impact of this program. Not only can we increase the number and types of animals we currently have, but we can also have visitors engage with them on a more regular basis through this unique design. We know the impact our programming has and can have on students and the overall community, and we know there's a need for it. The additional Animal Ambassador building will be an amazing opportunity for the zoo to inspire the next generation of environmental stewards, advocates, animal care professionals, and conservationists. So thank you so much.
In a moment, we're going to bring up Nick Christ from Bay Coast Bank. I want to say how thankful I am to Bay Coast Bank for this contribution. I've been doing this for about 25 years now. In my career, I've had some unbelievable opportunities, travel all through Africa, travel through South America, really work in some remote places in the world. And I would say that one of my most memorable experiences was when, in an earlier life, I was doing what Jen and Hannah are doing today, and I was actually brought an animal into a pediatric oncology ward at a local hospital. And obviously that is not the most, it's a very challenging setting to bring an animal in. You don't know what you're walking into, but truthfully to see not only the patients who obviously can't come to the zoo, they're dealing with their own illness, how they light up to these animals, but the entire family, their siblings, their parents, who are at it every day in the hospital as well. To be able to take something like this and bring them to the hospital, bring them to schools, bring them to groups, it's not only incredibly important for the zoo, it's incredibly important for the entire community. And that's why we are so thankful for Bay Coast Bank for what they have done to sponsor this building. This is just the start of a program. It already has 30,000 people. We'll be expanding that significantly, and we couldn't do it without great sponsors like Bay Coast Bank. So with that, I'd like to introduce Nick Christ from Bay Coast Bank.
Councilors. Well, we've talked a little bit about memories, and everybody has memories, or should have memories, to be about zoos and your childhood, and I certainly have mine. And just quickly, my father didn't take us many places, but he did take us to the zoo, and he had a passion, and it was feeding time at the Lion's House. So we had to get to the zoo by 11:30 to see feeding time. And the very first time I ever heard a lion roar, it's going to make your hair stand up, but it lasts forever in your memory, and it's a very pleasant memory to have. Keith, thank you for those kind words. Mayor and City Councilors, glad you could be with us and support this initiative. On behalf of Bay Coast Bank, I am pleased to be here today to announce our support for Buttonwood Park Zoo's new annual Animal Ambassador building. Our commitment to this project can really be boiled down to the impact it will have on education and community development. Education has been and continues to be a very important focus of our community involvement activities because we believe that it is the primary economic driver for a region's success. Mayor, you listening to those words?
I am.
All right.
Hanging on every one there.
We were impressed with the zoo's work with the New Bedford Public School District to create collaborative environmental education programs as a means to improve the quality of education programs offered to children in the city. All New Bedford school children attend zoo free of charge as part of these field trips and programs. And as Carrie explained, since its inception, the Animal Ambassador Program has educated more than 15,000 children, and through school programs, 35,000 guests have borne witness to this through daily encounters with our animals. With the construction of this new center, the zoo will be able to grow programming and educational collaborations with current and future partners in our region, recognizing the zoo's position as a premier tourist attraction for the region and a tremendous asset for our city as well. We see this dynamic master plan as an important way to further community development in the area. We are positive that our support will help encourage other businesses and organizations to see the potential impact that this $25 million project can have on our beloved New Bedford and its surrounding communities. We are excited to watch as your progress continues, and we thank you for the opportunity to be part of this project. Thank you.
In addition to the Animal Ambassador building, we also have another announcement. You may be asking yourselves, why is this beautiful train also sitting here? Well, if you notice on the top of the train there, you can see that for the next 3 years, starting today, Bay Coast Bank is also sponsoring our Black Bear Express train here at the zoo as well. So we're going to do a check presentation right now. We're going to take some pictures. I want to thank everyone for coming here today. Please hang out. We have a members night tonight of anyone who wants to walk around and see some of the animals out. But we're going to do a check presentation and some photos right now. But again, thank you everyone for your great support of the zoo. We couldn't do it without you.
Yeah.